All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community Board meeting to order. Mr. Secretary, could you please call the roll? Or is Madam Secretary? Who's your, yeah, it's a man.
Chair Neal.
Chair, you here?
I'm here.
Vice Chair Steele.
Here.
Member Horsford. Excused. Member Creer. Excused. Member Monroe Moreno.
Here?
Member Scott. Member McNeil.
Here.
Member Garcia Anderson. Excused. Member McCurdy. Thank you, Chair. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, so we are in compliance with the open meeting law.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 3, is there anyone here for public comment related to the Southern Nevada Prize Community Board? All right, Ms. Duncan, you have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and the rest of the Southern Nevada Economic Commission. I'm Catherine Duncan. I'm here to strongly encourage you to make sure that virtual community action planning is a tool that we will be rolling out to the community. We need your support. I know that the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance is coming to you to update our community economic development strategy. The SEDS needs to be done in compliance with the Southern Nevada Strong RTC planning effort. It needs to incorporate the Regional Housing Authority. There are so many different planning efforts that are happening in our community, and there's no concentrated effort. Everyone's planning for the historic West Side, and the citizens are not engaged. So virtual community action planning tool is a UCLA curriculum that allows citizens to be fully engaged with any planning efforts that happens in our neighborhood, and it allows any federal agency, state agency, private developer to achieve their Justice 40 goals. So I would strongly encourage you to please ask every person who comes up in front of you how they plan to reach their Justice 40 initiatives and goals, and how they plan to fully engage the community. And we strongly urge you to use virtual community action planning that we're rolling out as a community development corporation. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public comment? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and close the agenda item number 3, and we will open up agenda item number 4 for possible action, the approval of the final minutes from the meeting on July 15th, 2024. Members, have you guys seen those minutes from, okay. So I'll take a motion to approve the final minutes from July 15th, 2024. I have a motion from Commissioner McCurdy. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Vice Chair Nick Steele. All right, so all in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No opposition. The motion passes unanimously for the approval of the July 15th minutes. All right, the closing agenda item number 4, we will now move to discussion of, actually, can I roll agenda item number 5? So we haven't talked about it, but we do need to do an election for chair and vice chair of the board. But I think I'm just gonna roll this because we need to talk about it. Anybody wants to be chair? I'm gonna roll 5 to the end. Is that all right? I'm gonna take a motion to move agenda item number 5 and then discuss it before agenda item number 9.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Vice Chair to have all in favor of moving agenda item 5 to right before 9.
Chair, this is Senior Deputy Clerk Brian Carroll for the record. We wouldn't need a motion necessarily to trail the item. It can just be moving, starting with item 6, item 7, et cetera, as long as that item is heard in the agenda. You wouldn't need a motion for it.
All right, that's fine. All right, so then we'll scrap that motion. So I'll move to agenda item number 6, which is Nevada Partners giving us a presentation. They started, it's my understanding they were going after a grant, so we will call up Ms. Lizette Gillian.
Hi, Lizette Guillen from Nevada Partners for the record.
Good afternoon, everybody, and first, just thank you all for the work that you've been doing in our community. Since we've closed out this program, we've seen some successes within the CCSD work. We came to present to the SNEC board when we originally applied for this grant application and received such an abundance of community support with community partners and just really seeing the growth within our community relationships. So with this, we applied back in 2022 for the RFP through Clark County for the learning acceleration and wraparound support. So today we just wanted to present on some of the outcomes of the programs, and we did bring in some partners to speak about some of their expertise and their contribution to the program. Just give you a general program summary. Nevada Partners played a crucial role in establishing students and families during the heightening challenges during the COVID pandemic. We provided support like food insecurity because of the global pandemic. One of the key components of our successes was through the STEM programs, and particularly being able to bring community partners together to share their expertise into one safe place in our community. Throughout the program, when we originally applied, was supposed to be a 3-year program. Fortunately, it was reduced to a 2-year program with a reduced budget as well. We were still able to serve 1,361 students, and who's controlling this?
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. So through the impact, we provided summer literacy, tutoring and mentoring services, and it just gives you a breakdown of the total number of students that we assisted through tutoring and mentoring, summer literacy for year 1 and year 2 of the program. We impacted a total of 41 schools within mixed grades, focusing on middle school, high school, and some charter schools that are CCSD approved as well. This is a breakdown of all the schools that were impacted by the program. I want to go into some of the basic challenges that we had in administering the CCSD program and how we overcame these challenges. When we originally applied for the grant, it was through an RFP process. Understanding that it was a contract versus a grant, there were some restraints on how the grant was actually administered through CCSD. When we applied for the grant, we were under the assumption that it was a grant, not a contract. And several of the items that we originally had placed in our budget were removed, such as indirect, operational support staff, transportation, being able to cover costs such as background checks, which are actually all requirements for to be able to operate the program effectively. So those did become some challenges for us. In addition to that, we tried requesting for in advance to be able to start up the programs, which was also not allowed, and we were asked to remove several items from our budget that was originally approved, such as being able to provide community action grants for our community. So as part of the RFP, there was a section that allowed for us to apply for subawards and contracts, which was approved when we originally submitted the application, but was actually asked to be removed 3 months into the actual beginning of the program. Project timeline reduction was also another difficult area for us. The first year of the project, when we got the budget approved, it got approved during the summer, so by that time it was midsummer, which didn't allow for us to actually start programming until later on in the year. For year 2 of the program, we went through budget modifications, and it took us almost 6 months for the grant to get our budget to get approved, so it had us reduce our timeline to a 5-month program. For the reimbursement process, there was several delays with CCSD on the reimbursement process. Once we were able to get their new grants team, we were able to simplify that process, but it did take almost until year 2 for us to be able to get those items reimbursed. In addition to that, there was operational costs that were unfortunately disallowed because of them not communicating that their new process was to remove all the operational costs for our programs. Some of the other areas that we noticed that were lack on our parts is being able to get enough licensed teachers to support with after-school programs, but that's where we were able to really enlist in our partnership support to bring on organizations that were already involved in the schools that already had background checks, and we were able to leverage their staffing to be able to support with some of these programs. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to our team to talk about some of the specific programs.
All right. Melvin Valentine Jr., STEM Program Manager for Nevada Partners. So we had a 3-week STEM Leadership Boot Camp. Now, the purpose of the STEM Leadership Boot Camp was just that, leadership. STEM is the future of our economy, and we need as many of our young people in our communities to understand the why of STEM. Right now in our educational system, there's a lot of what to do, but there's not a why. And this is the why generation, without really drilling down on why STEM is so relevant and making sure that you present a curriculum that is culturally relevant to them to understand the why of STEM and the thought process and the mindset that STEM is a way of life and a way to approach problem solving in every areas of their life was the #1 goal of the 3-week program. In that 3-week program, we had 19 students that got paid internship experience, which now they are able to put on their resume. In that 3 weeks, when you get to the STEM Center, first thing you do, you're at work. You're not at school. You get assigned a scope of work, and you work on what is called project-based learning. You work with a team, and you compete with other teams over the accomplishments of who can execute their scope of work in the most efficient manner. Just by exposing at-risk youth to the culture of the STEM workforce through scopes of work, project-based learning, it's creating a culture in our community for the future of work. The 2 projects that they worked on were a drone soccer league equipment that we purchased through the CCSD grant and esports equipment that we purchased with the CCSD grant. And the purpose of the project was, what is the business model around drone soccer league? Because it's a business model in China, in Asia, and that sport is coming here to America. And how can Vegas, being the sports entertainment capital of the world, actually be take center stage in drone soccer league for America? Also, the same thing with esports. UNLV has already reported that there are opportunities in the esports industry, and how can we make Las Vegas an esports capital, and not just the esports capital, but a video game capital. So with that project, we had 4 different teams competing over doing the research and development of the actual business models that can emerge from these technologies. In that, they had to learn about the technology. So now what are they doing? They're getting exposed to drone technology. They're getting exposed to the esports industry. We partnered with Valhalla. Yes, Valhalla is the esports company that already is in our community with esports training facilities, preparing people for other communities to take advantage of this opportunity. In that partnership, they were exposed to the industries and the careers that are connected to esports. And they competed over learning the technologies and how do we build an esports league that is culturally relevant to our community. We had some great final presentations, proposals. We had a pitch competition. They had to be able to go and pitch their projects. And what has happened in 3 weeks is we have a network of young people deployed in our communities on multiple campuses that are passionate and excited about STEM and the future of work, and they're waiting for the opportunity for us to expand this program so we can expand that vision. The key critical data point that we want to now leverage the STEM Center to be with this partnership with UNLV is what we have called the Communiversity. It is critical that we get as many of our students to UNLV, and not just to go to school, but be part of Blackfire and be part of innovation, because innovation is the driving force of our economy. And there's a lot of opportunities to solve real-world problems for our community, and it has been proven that the people closest to the problem have the greatest solutions to solve that problem. We just need to resource them and give them the skill sets and the mindsets necessary to unlock that innovative potential. And with the partnership with UNLV, we have that opportunity. With the expansion of the micro business park, we have that opportunity, and we are building the pipelines necessary for the future of work so Vegas can compete on a global level. And I'm passing the ball to the next person.
Okay, all right. Oh, sure, all right. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sebring Coleman. Let me go ahead. Okay, great. All right, yeah, so hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sebring Coleman, and I am honored to stand here today to talk about the impact of the UNLV College of Education Rebel Start Summer Program in collaboration with Nevada Partners, and the impact that it has on our students, and just a wonderful collaboration that we were able to build and the impact that it left within our communities. Of course, as you all know, in wake of the pandemic, Southern Nevada workforce faced unprecedented challenges with heightened unemployment and economic instability impacting our communities. And of course, the ones who were really impacted the most are our K-12 youth. We just know just from that in general that our students are not only facing the normal academic hurdles, but also those that deal with the everyday living, from food insecurity, limited mental health support, a lack of access to essential resources. Currently, less than 45% of our students of color who make up a significant portion of this marginalized group are pursuing higher education after high school graduation. This statistic is more than a number because it affects or basically reflects the pressing issue that we have in our workforce today. And the obstacles create a cycle that extend far beyond just the individual student. We know that within these parameters, we know students face higher suspension rates, have lower aspirations, have more likely to be unemployed, and even incarceration becomes like a persistent threat. So when these students are not given the tools to succeed, our entire community feels it. And that's not only just feel it like in the pace of like what we see it, but also just on the social and economic issue. And so this comes in where the Rebel Start Summer Camp was birthed, and thanks to Nevada Partners and our collaboration, we built this as a cohort-based initiative that's designed to prepare high school students for college and careers by offering dual credit courses, and the opportunity for career exploration and mentorship over a span of 5 weeks. Students are immersed in a community-driven experience on the UNLV campus. Is also within our community at various community sites. They benefit from personalized advising, professional development, and exposure to career pathways like teaching, mental health, and STEM fields, as Melvin just mentioned. And we're not just preparing students for college, but we're actually preparing them for life. Last summer, over the last 2 summers, we've been able to work with Nevada Partners, which has been amazing. The very first year, back in the 2023 summer, we had 125 students who had the opportunity to go through this program. One of the things that really sets us apart different is that we just don't hire random people on the campus to teach. We're actually out in the communities, and we staff our professors with people who look like those in the community. One of them is actually back here. Brother Darius Williams back here is actually one of the people who taught for us as well too. Students had the opportunity during this time period. They earned college credit. They participated in an activity through Silver State called A Bite of Reality, where they got a chance to get fictitious money, have fictitious careers, and figure out how to navigate in this space. And some of the beautiful things that that folks talked about was that this was one of the first times that they had felt as though they were heard, they were seen in a classroom. We focused really heavily on critical thinking in that mentor space, and it's amazing just how quickly you could see like the kids the young adults, let me call them that, how quickly they could transform their lives and just transform their ideology within such a short time period. We offered this not only just on the campus for those students who, for the ones who did not have transportation, we also collaborated with different sites so that we could also make sure that the folks, had the resources to get places, as well as offered a virtual session for those who were also, participating in summer jobs during this time period. The following year, we took that number from 125 to 160 students as well too, and thanks to the support and the collaboration with Nevada Partners, we were able to take care of all of their application fees, get them uniforms to wear as well too, which are the t-shirts, and then make sure that they just had the basics of what they need in order to just do well and survive. The beauty of it is there was a 100% pass rate, with the average GPA being about like a 3.9, for those for that in that space. And so thank you to, of course, Nevada Partners. You just wanted to make sure that as a community partner that we just talked about just the need of the continued funding and all the resources available so that we can keep moving our community in the right direction.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cassina Douglas Boone, and I'm the founder of Tulips, which stands for Teaching and Uniting Ladies to Inspire Positive Success. Over the past 2 years, Tulips was blessed to serve over 120 students within the Clark County School District over at Ty's Place through our Petals of Empowerment program. This program focused its efforts on STEM and also mentorship, and we also through this program, noticed that a lot of our students needed help with math and English and reading, with English and reading. And for 2 years through this program, 2 of our Clark County School Districts teachers, one being over at Legacy High School and one being at Finley, came over to support the efforts. And I'm proud to say that 2 of the young people that were in our program, their parents were really pleased with the outcomes where they were not reading at grade level to prepare them to move. One was in the 5th grade and was not ready to, the parent didn't feel that they were ready to actually move up, and they were afraid about that. And for the 2 years that our teacher worked with them, the student was ready to go to the 6th grade on grade level. So that is a huge gain for us, especially when you have a student who has somebody that's working with them that looks like them and that is going to be patient with them. So that is something that we are really super excited about, knowing that that model works for us, having that one-on-one connection. We also host, over the past 2 years, our Petals of Empowerment Enrichment Camp, summer camp, and that's a camp throughout the summer. For the whole summer, young people are coming to Ty's Place, and they are learning leadership skills. They're learning not just leadership skills, but they're also learning STEM, and we're bringing guest speakers in from various sectors to talk about what it's like to get into those fields. I just want to say thank you to Nevada Partners and all of those who made this efforts help us. We're in a small part of North Las Vegas, and sometimes we oftentimes forget about our students over there, but we have great leadership that I want to give a huge shout out to Assemblywoman Danielle Marino for always seeing us over there, so thank you for that. But with this particular program, I want you guys to know that there was a young lady who did not know that they were actually doctors who looked like her, and we were able to bring a doctor who looks like her, and the doctor has still been working with her, and that has just, every time the mom sees me, she tells us that the doctor is still checking in on her and still connecting, and those are the kind of relationships that we want to have for our babies, so thank you.
How you guys doing? My name is Darius Williams. I'm a mentor for King of Jewels youth group. We are pretty much a 501c3 nonprofit. We work with young men ages 12 to 18, and one of the things that we do is that we partner with Nevada Partners to once a month mentorship meetings with young men of color for the most part. And what we do is we teach them enlightenment and just pretty much exposing them to things that they're not used to as far as like when they go home every day. Our partnership with Nevada Partners and CCSD has allowed us to engage, empower, and encourage 200 youth through mentoring and life skill training. So pretty much we get other people from outside of the community who wants to work with King of Jewels, and we pretty much partner them up with the students who have like career paths. And so when they meet with these other individuals, they give them pretty much a little bit of game on how to get to where they at, you know, when they get to their age. We also partner with UNLV Upward Bound and Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity to provide mentoring to 150 CCSD high school students, over 10 schools as well. Partnering with Nevada Partners, we've gotten kids who have literally waiting for them felonies going into their whole adulthood lives, and we have to pretty much help them maneuver through life as well. And not only that, as far as like work, but like how do you keep the perseverance of keeping going, you know, when life is stacked against you. We were also able to increase our registrations for our mentorship program, working with Nevada Partners, just them being gracious to have us a space, you know, so that we can do our mentorship. We're able to provide 12 workshops a year, pretty much once a month, and visit 8 local businesses for our male mentorship program to expose youth to more career opportunities. Our feedback surveys reported that 95% of the youth felt engaged during the workshops. They felt that they gained valuable information that can impact their lives, and they have had the opportunity to meet new people and create meaningful connections in our program. So that's pretty much the gist of King of Jewels. I can give you guys one example. We just recently took about 20 students out of town to Los Angeles so where they could see the Warner Bros. Studio, meet people who are like them in certain spaces in Warner Bros. Studios in high positions so that they can know about different job opportunities and things like that as well. So I thank you guys, and I thank Nevada Partners for giving us this space and opportunity to do these things.
Hello, my name is Maria Moore. I am the manager for the Education and Youth Development at Nevada Partners. I'm speaking on behalf of Go Urban. They were another one of our key partnerships, and they had a Summer Blast day count for the last 2 years of the program. The first year, they actually were able to reach about 57 students ranging from Henderson, Spring Valley, Summerlin, even Centennial, and the West Las Vegas. And most of the things that they were doing was included STEM, financial literacy, Black history, art, math, which they call the Power Hour, math, reading, and writing, as well as mentorship. The first year that they held the program, one of the big highlights, they ran a marketplace. So at the end of the year, they allowed the students to go to a store. Well, they actually created the store and were able to use their play money to actually buy different articles, and as well as they have vendors. So they were able to learn how to use money, which included that financial literacy piece. The second year, they actually reached, I believe it was 61 students. Again, it just wasn't for one area. They actually had students all over the community. One of the highlights in this year actually was they did a career fair. And I thought it was very unique because Go Urban, they actually reached out to the community. They found out what some of the kids wanted to be in life, and they actually reached out to the community to see if they can come in to speak to some of those kids. One of the students actually was a part of the first year. He wanted to be a pilot. And the reason why he wanted to be a pilot, because his dad was a pilot. And during COVID, his dad's plane got lost. And so since then, he always wanted to be a pilot to try to go and find his dad. And so finally this year, Go Urban, they were able to locate a pilot that looked like him, came in, spoke to him, and he just lit up like a Christmas tree. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another thing out of this program that's actually being continued now is the Hour Power. The Hour Power, again, was the tutoring piece, the math, reading, and writing. And so Nevada Partners, we continue this program. We do it every second and third Saturday of the month for the kids. We have volunteers to come out to assist with the tutoring piece, and we actually want to extend that in the new year, but we're looking for licensed teachers to volunteer as well. But Go Urban unfortunately couldn't be here, but they definitely wanted to thank Nevada Partners for the partnership and the continued collaboration.
Thank you all for being here today to support us. That concludes our presentation. We really just wanted to share some of the highlights of what we were able to accomplish during the CCSD initiative. Ultimately, it was a great support to our community, and we are beyond thankful that we were able to provide this service. The work is still not done. There's so much more to do within our community, but this just shows one small piece of what we were able to accomplish in a 2-year period. In addition to that, just being able to really rebuild our partnerships and being able to continue doing the programs. This gave us a lot of opportunities to be creative in our spaces and bring partners that really are committed to the work, and a few of them that came today just really showed you what we were able to do just to meet some of the support that our CCSD students need. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Members, any questions? Am I the only person with questions? Because
Come on, ask one question.
So, okay. I just wanted to go back, Ms. Lizette, to the CCSD grant. Did the teacher pilot with NSU ever get off?
Unfortunately not. When we requested the advance to be able to start the pilot for year 1, they did not approve it. And for year 2, when we met with NSU, they said that they didn't have the time and commitment to be able to pursue that project.
But we know a lot of that was because of how long it took for them to even just disperse the money, period.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm definitely going to talk to you offline about the operational stuff. So my other question was this. So when you guys divided reality, I wanted to know more about divided reality. It's a program, right?
Which
It was in the presentation that,
oh, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, so what we did, I think whenever we mentioned it, with Bite of Reality, it's actually through, Silver State runs, it's a national program, but Silver State's one of the people who oversee and has the equipment to run this Bite of Reality workshop. And so what it is, it's a simulated society, or simulated about maybe like, you can usually get through it in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, where everyone has an app. You download the app, and then it tells you like what your occupation is, if you have a spouse, if you have kids, and there's these simulated booths that are around, and students are with their app, and they're learning basically like how, if I make $3,700 a month, and I have money that's already going out to, for my student loans that I'm paying back. And I have this, basically what the folks at this workshop, what they do, they are trained to upsell you like the most, and you have to hit every area. There's about, there's areas in transportation. Everybody has to have some form of transportation, whether it's a bicycle or whether it's a car. Everybody has to, or a bus pass, or anything of the sort. Everybody has to do something that is for housing. Do you want to stay in this house? Do you want to stay in this apartment? Do you want to stay here? And so what it is teaching students just how quickly the money goes, and then there's always a credit union that's available. And so that's basically how it goes. And so what we do, we collaborate with, like we took the students that were partnering with us from Nevada Partners, and we also brought Silver State on to run the workshop. And so all the students had a chance to participate in that activity, and then we do a big debriefing afterwards, and we build some of our class activities in their course based around that.
okay. Definitely want to follow up with you guys, because what you didn't, it said, looking to continue the programs. Clearly, a legislative session is coming up. If there were folks that wanted to try to fight for some particular funding in their personal bill, at least you could have the fight. I don't know if you get it, but the point is you could at least try to ask for it. And then my final question was for the folks that went through, and this is to Mr. Melvin, so the folks that went through the camp, the boot camp, did any of them get to the point where they could capitalize some of the tech that they created in the program?
When you say capitalize, like
Meaning
actually
that
implement
could-
those
It
businesses?
could turn into something that they could actually manifest as a business and capitalize on it.
Yeah, so actually, that's a great question, Senator. So we're literally doing our second round and we're reaching out to those STEM leaders to bring them back in because we had some additional funding come in with an MGM grant. So now we can continue the program with that STEM leadership. There's going to be a coding component attached to it now too, but we're going to be reaching out to those 19 students that were already part of it, and they're actually now going to be able to leverage their understanding of the technology and the leadership skills to help build their teams on those campuses for our new cohort.
Okay.
And we hired 2 of them.
Okay, yay. All right, I just wanted to know, because since you're partnered with UNLV, I've seen a lot of students that are working on projects and it's actually been capitalized and they're looking for funding and they're looking for actual people who are going to invest and then make it.
Well, that's our
national and
whole
global.
model. That's why we call it a community. The partnership with UNLV is critical. We're in the process right now of applying for a $3.5 million NSF grant that will give the capacity to the STEM Center to be a self-generating mechanism, right? Bringing some revenue. So it's an edutainment platform nationally for informal learning. We've really collected a lot of data points around informal learning around this population. So now we can nationalize this as a national model, sell a subscription nationwide, and that's how we're going to create sustainability for the STEM Center. You can't rely on grants to continue programming. Too many times in our community, we get a grant, we do great work, then the grant go away, then we're back to square one. So the partnership with UNLV gives us the opportunity to apply for grants to create business models that bring in actual revenue to sustain our operations.
Very good. All right, thank you so much. We have a question for Member Steele.
This is just a quick point of clarification. The budgeting program, is that Silver State Credit Union that is the partner?
Sorry.
The budgeting program that you mentioned, you kept mentioning Silver State. Is that Silver State Credit
Yes,
Union?
I'm sorry, yes, it's Silver State Credit Union
Okay,
that we
thank you.
collaborate on that one, though,
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're gonna, do you have something else?
No, thank you.
Okay, so thank you. We're gonna go ahead and close agenda item number 6, move to agenda item number 7 with a presentation from LVGEA on the EDA process that we've been going through for the past 3 months or so, if not more.
Thanks, Karen. Good afternoon, everyone. Amber Stidham with Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, the longest name ever, LVGEA. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Oh no, my presentation looks kind of funky on the page. Well, it looked nice when I sent it over. Sorry about that. Providing you an update with relative to the comprehensive economic development strategy, where we're at in that process. First, yes, you're right, Senator. I do want to first start out with a few things. Earlier this year, this spring, a few of us got together in the office from the SNEC group here, Senator Neal, Nick Still, and Karen Schnog behind me. Hello, Ms. Schnog. We got together and talked about what Ms. Duncan over here had mentioned earlier, and she's absolutely right, which is we've been, as a community, operating and creating these plans in silos of one another, and that's not what we want to do anymore as a region. And we're really excited about what we've all been doing and partnering on over the last several months and what will come to fruition here moving forward. So let me just briefly go over what the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy is. It's essentially a 5-year plan. You all would be familiar with it. SNEC also has a 5-year economic development plan. Our organization at LVGEA has a 5-year plan. Almost everyone has a 5-year plan. And what the plan is supposed to do is not provide necessarily a real nuanced deep dive into what we need to do as a region, but really a framework for what it means to be successful in economic economic development, and then what we need to work on within our community to make us sustainable and continue to grow. One of the things that the Economic Development Administration, the federal government, which is where our regional SEDS that LVGEA has traditionally done every 5 years, is sent and filed on behalf of the region. One of the things that they're looking at doing is expanding the types of reporting requirements, and some of those elements are here on the screen. Oh, Karen, I used your image. I know you liked it, your equity-centered plan. We like it too. Thanks, Kevin. Two of those elements is focusing on environmental resiliency and equity, and this is why we're really excited about the framework of our partnership moving forward. Again, Ms. Duncan, thank you. Is how do we work together to reduce duplication in our region, and how do we take advantage of one another's best strengths and start working together? So again, really appreciate this spring sitting down with everybody around the table saying, let's not do it separately, let's do it together. So where we're at right now is, I've been jokingly calling us the trifecta, but I don't have another cool name for us, but we're working together. The planning group is the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community, Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, and the Regional Transportation Commission. So why these three primary organizations, even though we would work with everyone, and we are working with everyone in the community from public and private sector? Right now, LVGEA has traditionally sent in the 5-year plans on behalf of the region to the EDA. But we know that the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community offers a different vantage point that is incredibly important to us as a region moving forward, and has the direct connections and all of the nuanced information and insights that we need to have moving forward. I've been at LVGEA for 2.5 years now. I think it's a fantastic organization, but I will also admit that our previous 5-year plans have not really looked inward as to what we need to do as a community to help the people in our own backyard. The other aspect is adding Regional Transportation Commission to the group. One is they oversee the Southern Nevada Strong Plan, which I know was mentioned earlier in this meeting. They're in the process of updating that plan. I think it's been about 12 years since they had launched it, and about a third of that plan really talks about economic development measures that are needed for the community. Again, how can we work together and also reduce duplication? Also, to that end, they have a lot more people that are part of the staff. The staff for SNEC, it's limited, right? Staff at LVGEA, we have 10 people, small and mighty team. We have more resources and working together with RTC. So what we were able to do since the spring is work on an MOU and what a working framework looks like. So right now, it's all three of us, all three together, all three as equal partners serving in a variety of different roles. Right now, the LVGEA hits submit on the plan that will be submitted next year, but really it is SNEC and LVGEA and RTC working together to generate what would be a draft SEDS for our community, and then working with our public and private stakeholders. We have a leadership council that is sort of our blue ribbon committee, right? Just to make sure that we're crossing all our T's and dotting all our I's, and also being serving as a direct connection point for us, for organizations that we need to connect with. One new element that we've added that I don't think has ever been added is really concentrating on that equity task force. How can we make sure that we're not missing a group, an individual, an issue that we need to discuss on the equity piece, because that needs to be woven in within our entire plan. So I think it's really unique with SNEC's help. We want to, the plan is, and it will be, to establish an equity task force where we have folks from not only the SNEC board or the community itself engaged, but we can also have stakeholders at the table that are here to be advisors to us from a regional planning perspective. And then, of course, the consultant teams, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and working with our public and private sectors. So just earlier this year, when we all got together and said, hey, let's do this as a team, we also said, hey, we need more money in the bucket to get this done. If we want to do it the right way, it requires a lot more time, money, and energy to do that. About 5 years ago, when LVGEA conducted this, we hired a consultant company, and it cost us about $80,000 to do it. We realized that we needed more resources. So the three of our organizations got together. We put in for a technical writing assistance grant from the EDA for $150,000, which will be heard this week. I just got off the phone with the EDA, and they pushed us from about last month to this month, but we'll have our hearing this week. LVGEA is putting in $80,000 in cash. RTC has dedicated $40,000 in non-federal cash donation. The state of Nevada, contingent on the EDA grant, has committed to a $20,000 grant, and the EDA currently has an application they're sitting on, and they'll be reviewing this week for application. So great contributions, and everyone has some skin in the game, including SNEC. So what you don't see here is the staff and the personnel time that's been contributed, and there's been $10,000 contributed by SNEC to say, hey, use us to our best ability and connect with the community. So there's that element too. Let me talk a little bit more about where we're at in our timeline too. So earlier this year, as I had mentioned, we got together, we talked about what our project team would look like, put together our MOUs, and what our project scope needs to look like, and put in our grant submission. And I also really appreciate the work provided by Applied Analysis to our team on that. The next thing that we did as our trifecta team was put together a RFP creation and solicitation. So all three of us put together what was important to our respective organizations, and then we put out an RFP to our local market as well as national market, and actually received quite a bit of interest. I think we had about 13, 14, 15 folks that were on our pre-submission briefing, and then we ended up receiving about 8 RFPs to which we had interviewed 4 firms from. And so all three of our organizations had interviewed and assessed the firms as well, and selected a firm called Tip Strategies to move forward. However, one of the aspects that we want to be able to do is offer a micro contract to another localized firm that has some connections here in the community. So where we're at right now, before we can move forward on that, is we need to receive our notice from the EDA about the grant. If the grant funds are not approved, that changes our pot of money, that changes our scope of work a little bit. But we're kind of running in 2 similar lanes at the same time because we need to get the SEDS moving forward. So we're going through the SEDS process, and we're going through a grant process, and everything's going to come together within the next few weeks. Once the SEDS notification goes out, we'll be confirming our contractual agreement with Tip Strategies, and then immediately after, we're looking at a micro contract with a local firm here, and we'll get things started and lined up for a January 1 start date. Where do we really need SNEC, this equity task force, and the local firm the most? It would be in milestone 4. So January through September of this next year is when we're putting together the draft of what the SEDS would look like, all three of our organizations. It was really important to Karen Schnagg, Brian Neely, Senator Neal, that all of these recommendations come before the SNEC board for a full review and a sign-off before anything's submitted to the federal government by year end. And I think what would be a good conversation to have too is come early in the year as well, once every contracts are in place and we have a firmer framework about how things are moving forward and an outreach plan and what that timeline looks like. I think that might make sense to come back to this committee and provide another update. The other element that I think is unique that I want to point out too that we've built into our timeline is earlier I had mentioned that the SEDS is more of a broad framework of what we need to do as a region, not just LVGEA, not just SNEC, not just RTC, but all of us as a community, what we need to do to help ourselves in economic development measures. One aspect, after we file the SEDS, the report is building out a time frame for the last quarter of the year to really work on a dialed in action plan with corresponding metrics that go with our plan as well. Previously, if you look at some of the previous plans, Metrics are a little squishy, and we really want to be able to metric ourselves as a region so we can go back year over year and see what kind of progress that we're making. So I know that was important by the 3 organizations as well. I think that's really all that I have. I do really want to say, I know I said it again, but I really am thankful for the partnership. I think it's a really exciting time for us as a community, and it makes sense to work together. I would also add my own, I guess, editorial, which is I think we've seen opportunities that have been missed as a region from sort of the COVID era when there have been a lot of grant monies available. And I've been witness to a couple of opportunities over the last couple of years I've seen on the outside where there could have been regional grant opportunities from the federal government that could have made a lot of sense for our community, especially those for underserved, upskilling, workforce kind of training opportunities that have been missed because we did not have a truly regional comprehensive economic development plan in place where all of us were working together. And I know it's the commitment of not only LVGEA, but the members of SNEC and RTC to make sure that we're trying to do things the right way, comprehensively, to have the right people at the table and engaged, and make sure that we have something that we can point to over the years, whether it's my organization or others, so it affords us all more avenues to apply for like grant opportunities as well. That's what my report.
Thank you for that. Members, any questions? No? Member Monroe Moreno.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for the presentation. In my other role as Chair of Ways and Means, I'm kind of concerned about what will happen with federal funding, looking at a change in the federal administration and changes to budgets and money coming into states. Is there a backup plan if some of these grants that we've been depending on getting are taken away?
I think that's a great question, Assemblywoman. For the purpose of this particular project, I think we're going to be just fine in terms of funding, and I feel pretty confident in terms of our EDA grant that we're going to get a thumbs up. Big picture, what that means for our community and others across the United States, I have the same concerns. We do, and you're probably all aware, see that there might be, now this is just conjecture at this point, I mean, there might be a reduction in regular EDA funds over a period of time. I don't think, though, there seems to continue to be a trend in grant fund opportunities and things like workforce training and upskilling, which are really important efforts to invest in, especially in all communities, but also ours. And I think those are elements that need to be better woven into our 5-year plans that weren't necessarily expressly outlined before, that we need to start having, so we have, again, a document to point to say, this is why we're applying for a grant fund. Can I give an example? Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to do those things. It's not the legislature, right? It's a little different. Okay, I'll give you for example. Our community had applied for, we were an organization that had also worked as like a stakeholder group. We were not the lead applicant. Our region late last year had applied for, I think it was about a $2 or $2.5 million grant that was like an underserved community upskill training grant. I think you guys might have had some conversations about it too. We were part of another group, and the grant ultimately, that grant application wasn't funded. I was on a post-grant call with some of the folks from the EDA early in the year, and as to like why we didn't receive the grant funds, because of all communities, of the outline of the grant, we should, knowing how many communities of like underserved populations our community has with the growth projections and it would make sense for us and all of the gaming hospitality and what the grant folks said was the grant submission was excellent. Sure, you should have received it. However, because we don't have a more comprehensive 5-year plan, it looks like we've cobbled together all of our best opportunities at the 11th hour and tried to plan for a money grab. more or less. I'm not saying that's not verbatim. So that's why we have to work together on these 5-year plans, so we all have something to point to create more opportunities. And I'm not saying that this plan is only for grant application opportunities, but it certainly is a vehicle for those types of things.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you for the explanation.
Yeah.
All right, so no questions. All right. Okay, thank you, Ms. Stidham.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and close agenda item number 7. We're gonna go to agenda item number 8. Is there anything, when is our next meeting, Brian? February or January?
Sorry, figuring out the mic. I believe it's in the 18th of January, but I'll double check. I know it's mid-January.
Okay, so for agenda item number 8, are there anything, because it's like right before ledge session, anything that you guys want to put on the future agenda item? I mean, part of the work is really going to be making sure that the SEDS and moving forward is that we're, continue to be active in the space, and that the equity and environmental resilience piece is really maintained. So that's going to be a lot of work. And I think, continuing to try to follow what Nevada Partners is doing and try to figure out how to support it in different ways. But the EDA piece and the equity piece, I think, is a super important opportunity, because we're trying to make sure that the voice of the community is in that space, and the conversation is around what needs to happen globally, not outside, but inside. So, so I guess that's it. I mean, there's enough on the plate. So with that, we won't have any, we'll just have the GVA update again, because by then there'll have been a lot more movement. And after this week, there'll also be some additional information. And then we'll know what we're going. So I'll just say that the LVGEA should just probably be a standing item as we go through. So with that, I will go ahead and close agenda item number 8. And then I just want to do a quick recess so we can talk about the election. Okay? All right. Is that all right? Yep. All right. 5 minutes. We'll be all right. All right. So we're going to come out of recess, and so for the, wait. So, all right, so we're officially going to come out of recess. All right, so we have had a conversation. So for the election for chair, I'm going to do it differently. So for the election of vice chair, Nick Steele, I have to do a motion on that. So we have to do a nomination. So let me do chair first then. So as current chair of the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community Board, I want to nominate Mr. Scott to be the chair of the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community Board. And I need a nomination. I'm nominating, but I need a second.
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 So I have a second from Member Steele. Does there have to be a comment from the nominee?
Through you, Senior Deputy Clerk Brian Carroll, for the record. No, the nomination is just for the minutes. We would still need just a motion to approve as chair.
Okay,
Or
all right.
appoint as chair.
Okay. And so I want to take a motion to approve the chair nomination for Mr. Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed to the nomination? Okay, seeing no opposition, we approve Chair Scott to be the next chair of the SNCC board. So with that, I will open up to nomination of vice chair.
Sorry, Chairwoman, Deputy City Attorney Chris Levy-Gallagher, for the record. Was that first motion just to do the nomination, or was that a vote? It sounds like it was two.
I thought it was both, nomination and then the vote.
Okay.
So should I do
Just make sure the
two
clerks,
separate?
did you guys get it that way? Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. And then the second is to nominate the second activity under agenda item number 5 is to nominate the vice chair. So I'll take a motion, take a nomination for the vice chair.
I nominate Chairwoman Dina Neal.
Okay.
Second.
Who's the second? Second is Commissioner McCurdy. All in favor?
Hold up, so that was a nomination, so that would be the motion to approve, a motion to appoint.
So a motion to appoint, so Commissioner McCurdy did the second to appoint Chair Neal to vice chair. And now I'm going to do a motion, take the vote to approve that appointment.
Deputy City Attorney Chris Levy-Gallagher, sorry for the record. I just wanted to make sure that you did know if there were any other nominations before moving on to that.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, there's no other nomination for vice chair except for me.
So is that then Steele to appoint, to approve appointing you as
Yes.
vice chair? Okay, thank you.
All right, and now I will do the motion to take the, all in favor. So all in favor to approve the appointment of Chair Neal to Vice Chair Neal of the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Seeing no opposition. Chair is now Vice Chair. Anything else that I need to do? All right, so I'm good legally? Okay, all right. So with that going forward, we now have a new chair of the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community Board, which is Mr. Scott. We are getting ready to go into legislative session. It's very important to have someone here, and I will still remain me. So, so with that, we will go ahead and close agenda item number 5. We will open back up for agenda item number 9, which is citizen participation. Is there anyone here for public comment?
Thank you, Chairwoman or Vice Chairwoman, whichever, Neal.
Till next meeting.
Thank you. I'm responding again to the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance's Community Economic Development Strategy.
Sorry, your name again for the record?
Catherine Duncan. Okay, so while she was very eloquent with the SNEC, the RTC, and the LVGEA becoming partners, we also need to bring in the 100 Plan, the Choice Neighborhood Initiatives in both Las Vegas and North Las Vegas, and we got the Promise Neighborhood as well. We also need to bring in housing, broadband, power, water, sewer, health and human services, the environment, private developers, and Justice Department. And the only way we're going to do this is by doing it virtually, because there is no way we can bring whole of government and do a holistic approach to community development without doing it online. This is a process that's happening in other cities successfully, Kansas City, Atlanta, Los Angeles. So we're asking this body to encourage all agencies that are receiving federal funding to put 1 penny, just 1 penny out of every dollar into the STEM Center. This way, we as a community can be engaged holistically into community planning. So by putting the 1 penny into the STEM Center, it's going to give young adults ages 12 and up an opportunity to learn and earn while they learn with community development. So we strongly encourage the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community Board to look at every federal dollar that's coming into our community to make sure that 1 penny goes to the STEM Center so that we can be prepared to develop community benefit agreements and project labor agreements. And the only way we're going to do this is to have the data and the metrics that we need to be able to do this, especially since there's a whole high-speed rail coming to Southern Nevada. And I didn't hear one mention and said about, and with LVGA, about a whole train coming to Nevada. So we need to get in front of these developments, and the only way we can do it is to do it virtually. So I really thank you and encourage you to ask for support for the STEM Center for virtual community action planning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Go ahead. State your name for the record.
Melvin Valentine Jr. I just wanted to put on the radar of the board regarding your next meeting that there's already a conversation being had with Nevada Partners and UNLV regarding collaborating on an opportunity to try to fund the micro business park operational budget through legislation. So strategically aligning SNCC with UNLV, with Nevada Partners in a discussion on how to expand the STEM Center programming beyond just our current operation, but to the micro business park could add to a case, especially at a time when we're working with LVGA. And if we can collapse those initiatives within the SEDS, that could be a compelling strategy in case to have that fight on the Hill regarding how to get the funding for the STEM innovation projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public comment? Seeing no more public comment, we will now go to agenda item number 10, which is adjournment. Thank you guys all for coming. We are adjourning this meeting.
Oh, Chairwoman, sorry.
You have to take a motion?
Before that motion, it sounds like you wanted to make a comment really quick. Sorry.
SNCC Administrator Brian Neely Cruz, I just wanted to correct myself from earlier with the date for the next meeting. It is the 13th of January, not the 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I'm adjourning? All right, so I'm adjourning this meeting. Thank you guys for coming.